welcome back to the ground cinnamon. Today I'm going to continue making fish, and today we're going to make some stew. Not curry, we're going to make some fish stew. So what is stew? How is it different from a curry, and why stew? So let's put it this way. All curries are stews, but a stew becomes a curry only when you add some curry spices. So coriander, cumin, garam masala. That's exactly what we're not going to be adding today. None of these. And why? So what happens is we tend to eat curry every day, and the flavors tend to get repetitive. So repetitive that you really need a break from it, but you're still craving Indian food. This recipe also, by the way, goes out to those people living abroad who are like really craving for some curry, but I don't have it. Koi masale nahi hai. Don't worry. With some basic stuff, you can make a stew that, make no mistake, is very Indian. So there's going to be ginger, there's going to be garlic, and there's going to be turmeric. What more do you need to make an Indian dish? So along with this, I want to introduce a millet in this. So is it mandatory to eat your fish curry with rice? Absolutely not. We must introduce millets into our diet. Millets are tasty, millets are cheap, they're really cheap, and they're way healthier than your wheat and rice. So today I'm going to introduce you to foxtail millet. So this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. And what I call it is naturally occurring couscous. So when it's cooked through, it'll look and taste exactly like couscous. And I really don't know why it's not a big thing. It is really nice. So to make foxtail millet, the procedure is like any standard grain. You want to steam it or you want to boil it in some water. But to start off, you want to toast it in some oil. So what happens is when you toast it, it gets more nutty, it gets more flavorful, its natural flavors come out. But you want this oil to be a little flavorful, so I'm going to add a couple of cloves and a bay leaf. And into some hot oil, you want to add your namni. As soon as it hits the oil, it's going to pop. That's great news. Popped means tasty. Take it for granted. Now you want to saute this for maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Take it a couple of shades darker. After which, of course, we want to season it. And here, keep it down to just salt and pepper. A good amount of salt. And we're not making pilaf here, so just salt and pepper. Once that's done, you want to add double the volume of water. So 2 cups. And you want to keep this simmering at a lowish flame for about 15 minutes. What you can also do is do it in the pressure cooker. Same method, but 4 whistles. And once it's ready, it's going to look like this. Didn't I tell you? Didn't I tell you it looks like couscous? It is better than couscous. So now that we're done with our foxtail millet, which is going to pair really well with the stew, let's get on with our stew. So for the fish stew, the ingredients are really basic. To start off, ginger and garlic. So this is 1.5 inches of ginger that I've finely chopped. The garlic though, these are 10 cloves of garlic which I've roughly chopped. I've kept them a little big because I want to fry them for some extra time in the oil and get out its sweet caramelly flavor. These are chilies, completely optional. Guntur red chilies, very hot. You can change the chili, use something milder, or you can omit it. Some tomato puree, and I'll talk about this after I talk about the tomatoes. Now these are 6 tomatoes which I have roughly chopped. Because they're fresh, they don't have enough flavor, which is why, to compensate for that, just a little, about 1/3 of a cup of tomato puree, a cupful of diced onions, some sea salt, some turmeric, and pepper, of course, salt and pepper. Now the oil, I'm using regular vegetable oil. You don't need to use anything special. And finally, what fish are we using? Today we're using some pomfret. Now pomfrets, they're nice, they're cute. You can do so many things with pomfrets. You can fry them, you can stew them, you can steam them, you can do anything, just like kingfish. But it was about time we took a break from kingfish. Now because they're flatfish and because they're so small, it's really difficult to debone them. So your best option is to cut cute little darns like this. And you want the insides cleaned. You also want the fins removed. I've gotten rid of the tail also, but you want to retain the head. The head has a lot of collagen, and it is this collagen, when introduced into the stew, that makes it nice and fishy. It's going to taste very nice after that. So let's get into making the stew. So to start off, you want a medium-sized bowl into which you want to go in with about a tablespoon and a half of oil. So the oil has come to temperature and I'm going to go in with the garlic. For a change, I'm going to add the garlic first. The reason being, as I said earlier, I want to caramelize it a little. So the garlic has begun to caramelize already. It smells fantastic. It's a good time to add your ginger. And the onions. So now I'm going to cook these onions till they turn translucent. Even a little brown is nice. What I'm also going to do is add the 2 chilies. And I'm not going to cut it. I'm not going to let the seeds out because I don't want any heat. I just want the mild smoky flavor that exists in a Guntur chili. So if you're running out of patience with your onions, introduce some salt. So about half a teaspoon. And we will season it again later. So the onions are translucent. Into this, I'm going to add the turmeric, which is going to be a little more than a fourth of a teaspoon, not too much, and some pepper. It's very important to toast off your turmeric, if not, it'll retain a very bitter flavor. So as you begin to toast it off, you will smell the turmeric and you know it's done. You know it's done. And that is when you want to introduce your tomatoes. And your puree. What I also want to do is give it a little swig of water. That should be good. Is that a stir? And now I'm going to let this simmer for about 10 minutes. So it's been 10 minutes, and in 10 minutes your sauce is going to look like this. It's going to be a little chunky, it's going to be a little loose, and it smells fantastic. I want to check for seasoning. That's really good. It needs a little bit of salt, very little salt. And very important, you want to add a little bit of sugar, just a touch of sugar, to enhance the flavors of your tomato. So here I have some white sugar. You can use jaggery. We use white sugar, and I'm going to take about half a tablespoon. So the sauce is ready. Now all that's left is to add the fish to it. So just go straight in. So you want to add your fish, give it a stir, cover it in that sauce, and let it poach. And you want to let it poach for at least 5 minutes. You want to give it 5 minutes because you want the flavors from the fish head especially to go into the sauce, make it a little more fishy. And of course you want your fish to have completely cooked through. So give it 5 minutes, check it after 5-6 minutes. You can go up to 7 minutes, and I'll see you in 7 minutes. So it's been 7 minutes and I'm ready to plate. So here is my beautifully cooked foxtail millet. Look at that. Beautiful. Now what I also want to do is check for the doneness of the fish. So let's take that piece. And look at that. Look how shiny the meat is. Look how juicy the meat is. Perfectly cooked. 7 minutes and it'll be perfect. Now I am going to just check the pairing of the stew, and oh, that is perfect. The combination of the navne, the texture it gives, it's just like couscous. So the texture it gives with this stew, it's fantastic. At this point, you have one final option. So this is almost done. This is completely done. But if you want to take it to a more international space, make it more fancy, you can add a little bit of wine. You want to add about a tablespoon, not too much. That's it, that's enough. The wine will cook out in a couple of minutes. It's not going to make your fish, go over. If you like the idea of introducing wine, introduce it earlier. What wine does is it adds a lovely acidity, which is not your regular acidity. It's not your typical lemon juice or your tamarind juice. This is a lot more subtle and it brings out the flavors really well. And that is how you make the world's best fish stew. Any specific reason for shooting outdoors? I just wanted to show what great weather I'm blessed with. So do like, share, and subscribe. Do try this at home because you guys are going to love it. This sauce, this stew is it is simple and it is really hearty. Now the recipe, it is not it is not watertight, right? You can give it your own twist. You can say get rid of the ginger and add say basil leaves, and you'll have something very Italian. You could of course add curry to it. You can add your garam masala and your coriander and cumin, and it will be a very nice tomatoey fish curry. So give it your twist. Do try it. But this is how I like it, and this is how you're gonna love it. So thank you for watching, and like, share, and subscribe.